work and different things that are going on in the states and ways for you to get involved and what to expect when you do a state capitol day. So we'll jump right in, and here is my contact information here, and I have my email address as well as my Twitter handle, and Martin, who is our Director of State Legislative Affairs, so has a bit of an announcement for us today. Here is his contact information and his Twitter as well, so if you need any information on different things that are coming up in real time and just want to interact with us on Twitter, those are the ways to get a hold of us. So before we begin, I just want to let you all know that if you are interested in attending a state capitol day, we do them all across the country, but they're not in every state. So the best way to know whether or not a state capitol day is coming up is to just look at your state page on the Arthritis Foundation website. It's as easy as going to arthritis.org and typing in the search bar your state, and it'll come up, and you can see what events are coming up. So not only will you see state capitol days, you'll also see local walks, J camps, families, etc. So there are plenty of things, not only state capitol days, but other ways to get involved on the page. So Mark Guyman, would you like to take it away? Hit pound.
Take myself off mute there. Sorry about that. Guyman. I am the Director of State Legislative Affairs at the Arthritis Foundation, and I oversee our now program. Anything with state legislation runs through our office. We provide the strategic guidance and all of that. Alluded to a slight bit of news for those of you that I know and I don't. I will be moving on from the Arthritis Foundation on May 5th. After years and having several done and acted and quite a lot of successes for folks with arthritis. The program together over the years, we tried to look at everything we did had a material and tangible benefit for people with arthritis, and capped costs on a monthly basis to $150 per medicine in some places. We've reduced step therapy. We had the path to biosimilars created. We've had just a huge amount of success, and I'm really happy and proud of everything that I've done and working with the advocates to get those things done. And I know you'll be fine without me, but it'll be a sad day for me to leave you folks. Moving on that, though, there are two things we want to look at. One is the Advocacy Summit, which I'll let Laura go into, but I'll talk about state legislative days. These days are the opportunity for you as citizens to go up, really talk to your legislators. We try to coordinate the meetings. We try to make everything as easy as possible, give you background information, give you position statements, all of the things that you need to do to be a citizen lobbyist. What we try to do with everybody is have you go to your state capital, and when meeting with the state legislator, these people are the ones that are elected. They're supposed to be serving you, so that they understand what the issues are. So we don't look at everything in total. We try to narrow it down to maybe one or two issues. If there's a bill pending, I'd like to have introduced, we try to focus on that in particular. And it really needs to be brought to somebody's attention. Maybe there's a bill that needs to be signed by the governor or get out of committee. We'll focus on those kind of things. But we really want to rely on you to tell the story. You identify the problem. You know what the reality is of arthritis. You know what it's like being a JA mom or having to go through infusion and miss work or disability. Those are real-life problems that legislators need to know about. This is not fantasy, it's not fiction. This is reality. So that's for the identification of the problem. We try to provide the solution. I don't look at anybody and say, write some black letter legislation. That's what we're going to do. That's what we do here. My job is to write legislation and try to work it. We really want to partner up there and have that symbiotic relation that says, you know the problem, we know the solution, and we bring that together. And that's what we achieve out of the is tangible result, and really have everybody be able to tell their story. It's a great opportunity for adults. We have a lot of kids who go up. It's fun. I mean, I think I can say that pretty honestly. You get around the Capitol. If you've never done it before, they're usually, whatever state you're in, they're probably neat buildings. I can't think of a single one that I've ever been disappointed with. I had a chance to meet with legislators, and if you haven't done it, I describe state legislators in particular as just farmers and fishermen. They're just like us. They're bankers. They're car dealers. They're different. They're just there to serve the citizens, and most of them are not career politicians. They go for a couple months out of the year, do their job, and they really hear what you have to say. So the state day is a great opportunity to go up, pitch your story, and then try something come out of that legislation isn't, and that benefits people. So that's kind of what to look for in a state day. I don't know, Laura, do you want me to take questions now, or do you want me to wait till the end?
Yeah, advocacy summit there, because if you could talk about what the difference is between the advocacy summit for those of you who have gone to the summit and how that differs from a summit. Like, what do you do at a state day versus what is done at a summit?
So the advocacy summit is essentially the DC fly-in. That's where folks come in. We have a hotel set up, a big conference center. We do location before anybody goes up on the hill. There's two really very, very different experiences. The advocacy summit is going up to the United States Congress. It's going up to the big Capitol building. It's going with Congress people and senators. It's a rather experience. We have fewer issues that we need to present because Congress deals with big national issues, not with a variety of smaller issues that are regulated by the states, such as insurance or elements of health plans. I won't go into too much detail on that. But the summit is kind of this higher view national perspective. But the skills that you learn at the advocacy summit are directly translatable to the work that we do with the lobby days. We try to teach you how to present your issue, how to get your entire story. How do you take your entire story about arthritis and narrow it down to a single sentence that tells the entire story? We're not doing that today, but it is a session that we do that can go anywhere from half an hour to an hour. But for all of these different elements, legislative language, legislative lingo, how to meet with somebody, what to expect in a meeting with a member of Congress. So that's the kind of the higher level on the advocacy summit. A lot of the skills that go down to the state days. The difference that I see in a lot of it is the member of Congress, I think I'd say this safely, are career politicians who are going to be around for a while. That is all they do. That's their full-time job. And with larger national issues. For example, the funding of the Department of Defense for arthritis research. That's a national issue that every single member of Congress has an equal vested interest in. Take down to the state level where you may have your local pharmacist who's your state senator. This may be somebody you play golf with or go to church with or your kids play together. A career politician. It's a very different relationship. State's a little formal because of, I'm going to say it again, farmers and fishermen. But these are your neighbors. These are your fellow citizens, and it's a much different perspective. I would say do both. The summit is a great experience to go and talk about national issues, and your state lobby days. A lot of those are a little more personal. The states have the ability to cap out-of-pocket costs for medications. They regulate insurance plans. They can regulate step therapy. They can make prior authorization a little easier. They can create a pathway for biosimilars. They can help with narrow networks. There are a lot of things that the states can do that the federal government just doesn't have the authority to do. Between the two, you have coverage of state and local and national. So it's a good perspective to have. And I'm on both. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have particularly memorable state capital days you'd like to share with the group?
Don't put me on the spot there. I don't have any particular ones. I think they have their own nuances and they're all fun. I really like hanging out with the kids in the Capitol. I find adults seem a little too much formal structure, and the kids just enjoy the experience of the big columns and the statues and shaking hands and to see neat pictures and being part of the process. I think adults have a little more going into a little trepidation. Still there?
There's a ruckus in the alley.
There was. Call it that. It's not one that I remember, but I really do enjoy the kids going up. It's a great experience for the kids to learn how to do something and to be a part of that experience.
Awesome. So what advice would you give to some folks? I know that we have California coming up, New York, I believe California's coming up, Ohio's coming up. We have those folks here on the line. What kind of advice can you give them before the state capitol day?
I would learn, if you're not familiar with your state politics as of yet, get to know some of the basics about your state. I mean, the simple dynamics of who's Republican, who's Democrat, make sure your governor is. Of course, you know who your legislators are, who's your member of the House, whether you have a Assembly, a House of Delegates, whatever it is, House of Representatives, or your senator. Know those people. Try to learn something about them. If you have, say, I'll give a big example of this. We had a committee chairwoman who was going to go visit, and they didn't know much about her. So I went to her Facebook page to look her up myself, and one of the photos was her standing at a Walk for Arthritis. This is a committee chairwoman. It's a very powerful position in the state legislature. But I instantly knew that we had a partner and a comrade in arms, if you will, with that person. So knowing the most you can, I'm not saying do a investigation on something. Maybe look into it. Find out what their occupation is. If they're a doctor, it gives a physician standpoint to talk about arthritis. If somebody is an educator, whatever, it's a pharmacist, learn what they do, learn something about them. I mean, if you want to learn their voting record, you can always do that too. That's a little complex. But talk about who they are as a person, and then who it is that you are as a person too, and make that person-to-person connection. Don't worry about an elected official or legislator or something along those lines. That doesn't matter. They are there to serve you. They work for us. But I would try to establish whatever it is that makes that personal connection between you and them.
Great. That's great. So on this next slide here, would you mind briefly, I know this is a lot of, I'll make all of our topics really, but if you could just very briefly run through each of these, and maybe if there's a particular issue that's kind of hot state right now, if you could just let us know what's going on. If you could run down the line.
Yeah, I'll just run down the list from top to bottom. Yeah, these are our primary issues. These are the issues that we believe that we can make the most difference on a regular basis. And starting with biosimilar substitution, everybody knows what a biologic is in the arthritis community. But these are the medications that change lives. I mean, biologics see the difference between a child being in a wheelchair and not being in a wheelchair, somebody being at work versus being disabled. They're truly innovative and revolutionary medications, but they're expensive. And biosimilars are, for the equivalent purposes, the generics of biologics. So same experience that we've had with biologics in that price reduction, we hope to have with biosimilars. I forget the exact count today, but I believe we've had 9 bills enacted so far this year. I've got the report, but I know we just had one a couple minutes ago signed in South Carolina. So now we have, as of this phone call right now, we have one today in and of itself. So it's a great record. It helps people. It's going to bring medications to our that are change their lives and improve their lives, but are going to be affordable. And it's a really big issue for us. Formulary transparency. A lot of this goes into being able to know what it is that insurance is going to cover on the front end. A particular medication covered, is a dosage covered, what is that you're going to have to pay in copay or co-insurance, what are the obligations, so that you know, selecting a health plan, is it going to be affordable, is it going to be the you need that's going to satisfy those that are important to you, whether it's I don't know, whether it's being able to have access to a doctor that's local or not having nearby. I mean, that's critical information. We talk about narrow networks as an issue, which is kind of the next. I'm going to tie together. But if you have a health plan that covers a rheumatologist, but there are no board-certified rheumatologists in your state, it's do any good. And I know a lot of you have that experience that there are rheumatologists in the state, or at least not board-certified or not juvenile rheumatologists. So knowing in advance clear the benefit for you, so you can select a plan that actually makes sense for you. Going narrow provider networks. This is slightly to what I was saying, but it's ensure that there is availability for the things you need. Example, you community that it may be very rural, and you have a hospital nearby, and the major city in your state or one of the major cities has that hospital, but that hospital is not in your network. So that plan doesn't really do you any good. We make sure that in those circumstances where people have unique conditions, such as geography, that they have the ability to get to the doctor that they want and get to the doctor they need. They get the care that they need. So we're trying to do that. Pocket medication costs. I really hope I don't have to explain this one. I think it's pretty straightforward. What we're trying to do with this, though, is limit the amount of out-of-pocket costs directly. The legislation we had signed in D.C. just a couple weeks ago, for example, will cap medication costs at $150 per month maximum. So your biologic could cost you any more than $150 out of pocket one single month. Also looking at other minimums to make out-of-pocket costs that are easy to handle. I'm trying to think of the better put this, such as a deductible. I mean, a lot of folks, I was talking to somebody recently who they hit their full deductible for the year in the second week of January. They hit deductible, or they don't get their meds, or they don't get the care. So we want to change like the deductible, and could that deductible be evenly divided over the course of the year? Particularly with arthritis, particularly in RA, it's a chronic condition. It's not going to go away. So spread the deductible out over the course of the year. I could see with the acute care, where somebody breaks their legs, it's unexpected. Nobody knows it's coming. It just occurs. That's a unique set of circumstances. But in a chronic disease condition, you know you're going to be paying for your meds every single month all year long. It's never going to change, probably for the rest of your life. So why not have insurance plans that adapt to that reality and make it more appropriate and make it easier for people to be able to afford their medications? So that's that goal. Prior auth, I probably preached to the choir on this one too. How many sat at your dining room table or your kitchen table filled with nothing but paperwork, sitting on a phone for 4 or 5 hours, 45 minutes on hold, trying to get through to the right person, and try the medications or treatment approved in advance. We all know the problems with that. Looking to solutions for it. One of the things that they want is a standardized prior authorization form. Illinois is a perfect example of that. When we're looking at prior authorization, the insurance companies in Illinois, all the different ones with all the different plans, there were 256 different prior authorization forms, different forms that could be filled out. We were looking at, let's just do one standardized form so that everybody knows exactly what they're dealing with. I also want to make it electronic, that it can be considered electronically to make everything easier. Step therapy, it's also called fail first. It's where you have to try a different medication other than what your doctor wants. Usually it's a lower priced medication. We see this in newly dosed folks. But a lot of, if you change insurance plans, you may have already gone through several medications. You're stable on one, or your child's stable on the medication that's working, and there's remission. And change insurance plans, and the new insurer says you have to go back, repeat those steps, and start over again from scratch, even though your whoever is stable. We're not against step therapy. It makes sense in certain circumstances. Common medications is a great example. Some diabetes medications, blood pressure, really conditions that are not going to be life-threatening or life-debilitating, as are in a lot of circumstances. We also don't want to say that if somebody's newly diagnosed, that they shouldn't necessarily have to go through the process. But ultimately, if the doctor says, I don't want this person to have to go through the process because either they're stable or based on my clinical judgment, this is not going to be effective. This is what I want to do as the physician. We want to provide that as an out. So we're looking for that. We've had quite a few bills on all these subjects and passed into law. We're having a lot of great successes with it. So it's, what I said about the material and tangible benefit to people. We want to provide that, and we think that these particular issues provide a benefit to everybody in the arthritis community that people appreciate, and it's either real life in your wallet or in your processes or in the ease of care or in the access to care, So we're pretty confident that this list is good, and we're out of the success we had with it.
So I do have a question that I got here from our audience. The question is about testimony. So they've seen some of their friends testifying at their state capitals. How does one go about doing that, and what do you need to do to be able to get involved?
There's really not a formal process. The testimony in the states is designed to be really kind of a distance of citizens to come and talk about their position on legislation. A lot of it's just showing up. Some states require that you sign up in advance. Some require that you sign up in person. It varies from state to state. If you hadn't testimony, some require it be submitted at the time of testimony. Others 2 hours before, 24 hours before. But really, all you have to do for the most part is show up. Legislators want to hear from the citizens. They want to hear from their constituents and voters, and that's really important to them. So they're going to be a little more lenient with folks than they would be, say, with me. Somebody that's supposed to know what they're doing and engage for this. We've had a lot of great moms show up, dads. We've had we had a lot of kids show up this year. Some great kids. And presenting your testimony, I would give this testimony out in advance and submit that for the record, but don't read the testimony. Just go up and tell your story, and don't try to be a lobbyist. That to me and our folks. Just go up and tell the story and but why this is important to you. So, and don't be afraid. There's some very intimidating names. Pennsylvania is probably one of the most intimidating that I know. It's huge. It's oak-paneled. It has cameras and lights, and it can be a little burdensome. And if you've done it, but don't be afraid. They want to hear from you about your experience. But you can actually go to the Arthritis website and look up the state legislative map and click on your particular state, and it'll give you all the active legislation that's going on there right now. If you follow it, it'll tell you when there are hearings coming up and things like that. We also are signed up as an advocate or ambassador. You'll probably get some kind of notification from us prior to a hearing. You need people. And proximity to your state capital. Let us know that that's the information that we want, so that we know that we can have somebody nearby. To me is maybe different than what it is to you. But if you have something coming up, if there's a camp on step therapy and you've been through it before and you thought it was a terrible process, learn from you. Let's do it. We'll help you. We'll teach you a little bit about giving testimony. But it's a real process, and quite honestly, it can be a lot of fun too.
Just also want to add to let your advocacy leadership team member be aware if you do want to go testify, and they can help you through that process. But absolutely let your advocacy leadership team member know if you're going to be doing this. Do you have any other questions from the audience? Okay. Any final advice for everybody before we adjourn for the day?
If nothing else, vote. I would say follow what's happening on the primary issues. Look to our information. Look to the blogs. But find the issue that's near and dear to your heart. If you're having problems with out-of-pocket costs, there's legislation out there for that. Please stick to your state. The state maps that we have on the AF webpage. We'll go to there, and you can follow it. I would give the advice: don't read the legislation unless you're really familiar with it. Don't try to go to that level. Do it because I get paid for it, but really, I don't know. I probably would. I'm kind of wonky that way. But just to find the things that are important to you and see what your level of involvement is and where you want to be. If you're not ready to testify, then don't testify. Send a letter, make a phone call. Everybody can make a phone call or send a letter or an email. That's easy. If you can take Capitol Day, join the State Capitol Day. If you can testify, great. There's so many different ways to particularly now with the electronic equipment that we have in the technology. You get home video and upload it onto a letter's Twitter page or their Facebook page. We have to be bound by things like letters and phone calls anymore. There are great ways to do it. If you look at some of the AF promos that we've done for legislative activity, you can see the videos and really get a feel for how to do it. So I'd say overall, comfort level. And once you find your comfort level, break it to the next level, and then keep going level by level by level to do those things you can do to make a difference. And collectively, we will change the world.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. And I just want to let everybody know, I don't know why the format here is all off, but the next Advocate webinar series is May 16th, and it will be about recruiting advocates at local events. So about your local Walk to Cure Arthritis or your J Family Days or your Jingle Bell Run. So we'll be joined by one of our ambassadors on call. So be sure to mark your calendar for May 16th at 3 o'clock. And I'm really sad that this is your last Advocate webinar series, Mark, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for joining, and we'll talk to you next month. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, everyone.